Hello and welcome to Qsports. I'm Amudu Gajaga. Thank you for joining us. Coming up tonight, Scorpions training camp in Comoros is cancelled. Is it a big blow for their Africa Cup of Nations preparation? Well, a look back at football in the past. Part 2 of our discussion with Gambia's former coach Alhaji Mas Axigaye and veteran football commentator Tijan Masanesise. We will look at specifically at financing football back then. We'll also be talking about boxing as the Boxing Federation of the Gambia celebrates International Boxing Day on Friday. We were there and we'll bring you the details. As well as handball. Well, it's not a sport that is often reported on this channel, but this time we went there to witness the final between Bakau and Serekunda East, both in the male and female category. And finally, we will also be talking about promotion to the First Division. Berewuleng FC women's side has qualified from the GFF Second Division to the First Division in the women's category. And they did that with a convincing win on Saturday. More on this on Qsports. Welcome and thank you if you're just joining us. This is Qsports and I'm Amudu Gajaga. First, it's going to be a discussion on Gambian football. Currently, the national team are on the verge of preparation to qualify or to play the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, but apparently the training camp which was settled to be played in Comoros has been cancelled. And first, the discussion on that. We'll also be looking at Gambian football in the past. Gambian football in the past. We are going to reflect on it. This is going to be the part 2, and I'm joined in the studio by some of the most brilliant brains. If you like, you can call them all. Well, for me, they are still as fresh as anything. Their minds are still, would capture a lot of things that has happened in Gambian football, even though we are talking about decades in the past. We will also be talking about some of the latest in Gambian football. As far as the national team is concerned, that is the Scorpions. They were meant to play in an international friendly, at least 2 of them. One was against Comoros and the other one was to play against Seychelles in the FIFA window for September. But apparently those matches have been cancelled due to financial reasons. So we'll first discuss that. But first, gentlemen, welcome to the studio. First, Tijan Masanesise.
Thanks a lot. It's my pleasure being here, like always.
Alhaji Mas Axigaye, we're having you for the second time. Last week was...
My pleasure for the second time, Gajaga. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Tijan, we are going to start straight with national team matters. Just last week, we were talking about AFCON qualification, grouping, we're drawn in Group F, the preparation, what do we need to do? And now, the first stage of that preparation, apparently, according to a press release that is coming from the Ministry of Youth and Sport, joined with the Gambia Football Federation, these international friendlies with Comoros and Seychelles are not going to go ahead due to financial reasons. Well, let me just go straight in to be fair with both sides, that's the ministry and as well as the GFF. The press release reads, the Gambia Football Federation and the Ministry of Youth and Sports joint press statement on the cancellation of the Scorpions training camp in Comoros. While the Gambia Football Federation and the Ministry of Youth and Sport regrets to inform its stakeholders and the general public that the proposed training camp for the senior national team slated between the 30th of August to the 8th of September 2021 to be held in Comoros has been called off. Well, the reason is that this decision is necessitated by the inability of the Ministry of Youth and Sports to access the required funds to finance the training camp. When the situation was communicated to the GFF with the options of either the GFF pre-finance the campaign or resettle it to the next FIFA window next month, the Football Federation tried without success to save the situation by a way of pre-financing it. Tijan, this should be worrying. Gambia qualified for AFCON for the first time. We are at the preparation stage. This was a window of opportunity to start the ball rolling as far as the qualification campaign is concerned, that is to prepare the team for Cameroon.
Well, I think last week when we talked here, we talked about the importance of getting the team ready. And you guys know it takes a lot. Of course, it takes a lot of money. And now you have a press release that emanates from the authorities that the team will not be on its training mission because of a financial shortfall. It's quite worrisome, and I just hope that they'll walk around and find a resolution to it and make sure that, you know, we prepare the boys well, because like coach knows, if they're not prepared, I don't expect any extraordinary thing when they go to Cameroon, because that mental motivation has to be there to get the kids to go there and perform. And I would think that the government of the Gambia would do everything possible, and I encourage them to, and I hope they will, do everything humanly possible to make sure that we're able to get the boys ready and get them in shape for those games.
Alhaji Masaksi, there's already been an outrage on social media. Well, some of us who are young, you know, getting the clicks and looking at what the people's reaction is concerning this cancellation of this training camp. Well, the thing is, many didn't see it coming. You've been in the past and you've lived the present and you're seeing what is happening. When this happens, maybe during your time, what does it do to the morale of the team, the mentality of the players and the coach who needs to get these warm-up matches to prepare the team?
Thank you, Gajaga. I will pick up from Tijan about, he's talking about the mental preparation or so and so forth in terms of their comportment in that league, because this is a special league, as I told you last week.
Yes.
This is a special league. It's not the home league. It's not an international league as per, but it is a general league of group of qualified teams. And there are rules and regulations that governs the activities of both teams, all of those 24 teams, am I right?
Yes.
And one of them is this type of preparation. That is why this window has been opened by FIFA itself, moving teams to prepare your teams. Because you see, games like this, I mean, players will come a day or two to go and play the actual football officially. Why not prepare them before they come for that time? That is why this window is open. I mean, if we cannot have 2 of these games, I would have asked them to give us 1 game.
And still getting into the past, I think I've gone through the archives and I've checked a little bit of history in Gambian football. There were years in which we withdrew from qualifiers for AFCON. Many years, in fact, you know, multiple times because of financial reasons.
Yeah. So sometimes, I mean, we were around, you know, building up teams. Every team will come for the practice match for us. We cannot participate, but they will come to us. Guinea will come, Ghana will come,
Mali,
Ivory Coast will come, Mali will come, Senegal will come. All of them will come for us to give them practice games like this we are talking about. We cannot go. This was happening very much in Gambia football. Besides, in fact, talking about being capped, at the time there weren't much of these games coming in. But the little that has been there, we were not being part of it. So we are just, I mean, what the word of say, gunge dan jon gunge teams here, like ku buga practice and use in. They will invite us. Guinea will come, Ghana will come, Ivory Coast will call us. You see, Ivory Coast, I can remember wanted 2 games. They came here, we won them 1-0. They cannot accept that. Gambia cannot win Ivory Coast at that time with Laurent Pokona and others. We were all amateurs. They had about 3 or 4 at the time professionals.
Like the other day, Tijan was talking about Ghana playing Gambia in a friendly when they were about to host the AFCON in 1978. So
he took the
kind
team.
of a practice match.
He took the team to Ghana.
Yeah.
I took the team to Ghana. I was there. I was a living subject. I mean, the Ivorians cannot accept us winning them here a 0-0. they had to invite us immediately to follow them the next week to go, and they give us 10-1.
10-1. Oh, okay, that's
You
the
remember
famous
that?
10-1.
That was the famous 10-1.
And Soldier calls it, he said, fraternity day, something.
Fraternity
matter. Decided to make it 11-0.
Allow us to celebrate the one goal he won here.
Right.
In fact, Laurent Poku, because of the weight of Gambia, was not determined that he had to sit as a spectator. But when we give them one and we were holding there, he had to undress and get in. I can remember.
And Laurent Poku was one time the record goal scorer in the Africa Cup of Nations until Samuel Eto'o breaks his record.
Exactly.
Of course, we played with them.
That's the famous.
We won them here. They never accept us to wait for the glory of winning them. And they just immediately invited us.
Once again.
Once again.
We're going to have a break, and then when we come back, more of this discussion. Still on financing the game, Tijan Masanisise, you've talked about the struggles, private citizens dipping into their pocket and sponsoring teams. Well, one of the most famous persons who would come into that category is Alhaji Obi Konate. This man, the late, may his soul rest in perfect peace, has dipped into his pocket and literally financed Gambian football, sometimes on his own. I would say even the national team. Well, we kids, but we remember some of these things. And mainly, Walidan, his own club, is a team that he has financed up to any level that you can talk about.
I would say there was no better honor than working with that man in Gambian football. I actually have written about him before and called him a football junkie. And we laughed over it. And I always tell this story how Walidan lost the game. And he had a brand new Mercedes-Benz. And he walked home and left it at Boxbar Stadium. That's how much he cared about the game. So, between him and Hussein Unjai,
yes,
nobody comes close to what they've done in Gambian football. These people are the catalysts. The coaches here, he'll agree with me. I have seen these people personally pay for people that were dropped from the national team. Not just that way, they'll be encouraged. Players that the technicians, well, you have a cut of 18 players, well, he's a future talent. They'll pay for him to go. Jerseys, the ministry didn't give him jerseys. They bought the jerseys. We're saying we'll bring him from London or get them from Dingare. The food, camp. Like I said, Obi, Usainu, Alhaji Gabi Sose, James Gomez, Fisheries Minister, Alhaji Babu Sise, Alhaji Tafango, Modiba. These people, man, they should be celebrated in Gambian football forever. And
in the West Coast area, Usman Saho, I understand, literally Saraba, and all the people, yes.
Well, I see the goal project is named for Usman Saho. See, I worked with him in Young Africans and Roots. He was an official of Young Africans because most of his boys, Abdullah Bob, Mustafa Minte, Michael Demba, Mustafa Manga, Sefa, James Freeman, these are all Roots in Young Africans. So he was part of our organization and he was such a dedicated man. He even had some of the players living with him. I know that. Yeah. So these are people that should always be honored and celebrated in this country. And I was so delighted to hear that the Gold Project was named for him. What a fitting honor. But I'm yet to see, people like Hussein Unjai honored in Gambian football the appropriate way. Alhaji Obi Konate, Father Joseph Goff. It's sad that we wait until they're gone, but they're deserving of the honor. We have the greatest broadcaster of all time in Gambian history. And the best commentator ever in Africa. Saul Njai is sitting here. And he's not even in the Gambian Sports Hall of Fame. I sit here today because of Saul Njai. That's a shame.
Absolutely. Well, we still talk about the people who really shaped our football in terms of finance. We've named some of them. You must have remembered, and some of them what they did for the game.
I can remember Tijan is telling you about the Useinus, the Obi Konates. Of course, Gabi Sose too is another legend, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember when this economic problem had in this country in the 80s. That was the time we lost the Port Authority Football Club. Then they cannot pay the players. Especially a certain managing director asked the team to leave. Gabi Sose had to take it to rename it Mas Sose Football Club.
So.
He runs the team. Everything that Port was doing for the team, he was doing it in turn. So you can see some of us were very grateful to these people because we've passed through them. They were our seniors. And with little we have to, we follow them.
Well, you can never get enough of these discussions, and I think we'll have to do this again and again and again. But for now, we're going to take a break here, and thank you very much for watching. But in subsequent editions of Qsports, we will continue the discussion with a reflection in the past of Gambian football.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. Qcell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Now, let's talk about boxing in the Gambia, because the Gambia Boxing Association has celebrated International Boxing Day on Friday in Banjulinding. It started off with a march past, and also there was an exhibition. More in this report. Accompanied to the boxing ring by an interlude of music by the Scout Band, boxers get into the ring, showing off their might, throwing hard punches, despite being a warm-up as part of the event to mark International Boxing Day. Abdullah Jallo is the Secretary General of the Boxing Association.
This is quite significant because it highlights the importance of athletes coming together. The theme for this year is Boxing Unites. Generally, sports unites, like uniting the world through sports. So today we are united here. As you can see, the officials and athletes are out and about to celebrate the day at Banjulinding. You can see the community, most of the community are out and about to join us in this celebration. Now the day will bring together not only the athletes and the officials, but also the community.
Boxing is one of the least popular sports in the country. Events such as this showcases some raw talents, which if harnessed, has the potential to become better. Gambia missed out on an Olympic boxing ticket in Tokyo after they failed to qualify in Senegal 3 months ago. Abdoulaye Sonko, Technical Director of the Gambian National Boxing Association, says their plan is to develop boxing in the country.
Really, they did wonders there, and still the preparation is on high gear. Every Friday we do have a very hard competition, so that for the selection of the national team, all those things are on preparations.
Mariama Barry is one of the few female boxers in the Gambia. She has been into martial art, but it appears now she is more passionate about boxing than taekwondo.
To raise the Gambian flag high like others, or to do more than them even.
Ibrahim Ajabi is an experienced boxer, despite not being a professional, even after 5 years of being actively engaged in the sport. He is very ambitious, despite challenges such as lack of competitions.
Boxers like me and my other colleagues, they really have the passion to move the sport forward, and I believe that in the coming years, in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, Gambian boxing will be in another level. And I promise you, the next Olympic 2024 will be there.
These young boxers rounded an exciting evening with athleticism and passion. Perhaps when International Boxing Day comes around next year, there will have been significant positive changes. From boxing, now we're talking about handball. It's not a sport that is often reported on this channel, and some of you may not know that there is a sport that is called handball. Well, it's not football, because this one you use the hand and 7 players in each team throwing the ball, trying to score a goal at a smaller goalpost and also at a smaller field. You'll be able to see that. Well, the delayed handball zonals final between Serekunda East and Bakau was played on Saturday at the Independence Stadium handball court. I was there and watched first the women's final between Bakau and Serekunda East, in which Bakau triumphed, and in the second game it was completely a different story. A very close game between Serekunda East male and Bakau male team. Interesting encounters. You watch this report to see how it all pans out. Bakau women's handball team put in a dominant performance from start to finish, as the 19-7 scoreline indicated. An early fired-up attack ensured 4 straight goals were scored without reply, with more pace, power and agility. Serekunda East reliance on their star player Mam Drame didn't pay off, although she made several runs and ended up being blocked. Due to her style of play, she ran into trouble with the Bakau ladies, throwing their bodies in front of her, blocking her scoring opportunities. After the break, she scored 4 of her side's 7 goals. The Bakau ladies ensured experience and pace counted to their advantage with a spirited second-half performance.
I feel happy, obvious, because it has been a long time. We haven't been training. It's because of the pandemic. But alhamdulillah, today we won our final zonal handball.
In the second game of the evening, the Serekunda East male team won against Bakau in a dramatic fashion in what was a close contest. Their attack was almost unstoppable and got an immediate response from the Bakau team. Numerous times during the game, the teams were neck and neck. Late in the game, as night crept in, Serekunda East scored 3 goals in succession to win the tie. The victory was special to Pa Alinjai.
Fighting very hard for this game because this is our first time winning them. And we're well prepared for this game, for sure. We're well prepared for this game. And I'm so happy right now. I'm so emotional right now. You can see it from my face right now.
Handball, as with every sport in the country, was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The league was delayed, as was the zonal competition, which had reached the final stage. Staging the final was seen as a success by Mamadou Souare, the president of the Gambian Handball Association.
We are appealing to all stakeholders to come and support handball. Handball is a very beautiful game and it's a peaceful game, and it can do a lot in the Gambia here. Because we want to promote handball so that after football you get handball. That's what we are aiming for.
Handball is a team sport in which 2 teams of 7 players each pass a ball using their hands, with the aim of throwing it into the other team's goal. A standard match consists of 2 periods of 30 minutes, and the team that scores the most goals wins. Finally on Qsports, we are going into women's football. The women's football in the 2nd division has been concluded, and it's Berewuleng who triumphed. They won the trophy. That's their last game in this encounter. They played against Lower Nyumi and they won by 6 goals to 1. It was a thumping victory, and they qualified to the GFF 1st division. So they've been promoted, and a prize money of $200,000 according to the Gambia Football Federation. And there are some of the players who stand out in this competition, or in this particular match, is Sire Jata, who scored a hat-trick. Nyima Sane also scored, and Kadi Drame, Nancy Da Costa all got on the score sheet. So it's been fantastic for Berewuleng. Also, let's have some of the pictures as you would see their triumphant team reaching the GFF 1st Division League. For the first time, they got promoted into the women's top flight. With that, we say thank you very much for watching this broadcast. Keep on sporting and have a pleasant evening.